Good morning. Well, first off, it was mentioned that I had to reach the heights that Bill reached last year, and I just want to say I'm probably a little bit taller than him. So I think I'm already, I've not gotten that piece I can reach. The other thing I wanted to say too is having the kids up here was pretty spectacular, and just listening to the dreams and the things they want to do, firefighter, astronaut, doctor, school teacher, all these different things, but the one that got me the best was the donut. I would love to have some donuts. Before I get started, I wanted to, well, there's a couple of things. I don't know what the Seahawks are doing, so just, their draft is coming up. They've gotten rid of a lot of players. I will be on the draft coverage this week, but I'm holding on with hand and nail just like you guys are trying to figure out what's happening. The other thing though is that I want to take you guys on a little journey with me this morning, and I know it's a little bit early, and you got up for breakfast and you probably got up early to get here, but I'm going to ask you to close your eyes just for a little bit and take the journey with me, and then we'll get into the things I want to talk about. So if you can close your eyes and try not to fall asleep and really participate in this, it can kind of set the tone. So what I want you to do though is go back and really connect with what you're feeling and what you're seeing and what you're experiencing when you're a kid and you're 5 or 6 years old and you're thinking about going to kindergarten for the first time. And all the anxiousness, all the nervousness, all the excitement, all the fear, all the unknown, all of those different types of feelings. Connect with those feelings. And then also think about what it was like if you had to take the bus and get on the bus for the first time and figure out where to sit for the first time. Figuring out who to sit with. Figuring out how to figure out who to sit with. Think about walking into the classroom and think about where you sat in the classroom. Who did you sit beside? Who was in your classroom? What was the makeup of your classroom? How did you decide where to sit? Think about when you went to recess. Who did you play with? Who was around? How did you choose who to play with? Did you have anyone to play with? Think about when you went to lunch. What did you do at lunch? Who did you sit with? How did you decide to sit with a particular group of people? And then think about all of those types of experiences as you go from elementary school to middle school to high school. What was that peer group that you had? What was the makeup of it? Who was in that group? Were they African American? Were they white? What was the racial, ethnic makeup of it? The cultural makeup of it? The social economics makeup of it? Who were those people? Were you with the in crowd? Were you just in a crowd? Or were you just by yourself and alone and isolated? Think about all of those challenges that you went through and who you went through with them. Think about all the successes that you had and who you shared them with. Think about those times at the park on your walk home from school. Like, who did you walk with and why did you walk with them? Think about your walk to school. Why did you choose that group of people to walk with? And then connect all that vision and all those things you felt as a early kid, a young kid, and a teenager, going through all those experiences, and then fast forward to right now. And if you are a business owner, think about the employees that you have, the people that you've hired. What do they look like? What is the makeup of those people? What is your decision making going into hiring those people? If you are an employee, like and you're working, who are your friends at work? Who do you hang out with? Who do you hang with outside of work? Who is your girls group that you go hang out with and go to happy hour with, or those types of things? Who are those people that you hang out with? If you have guys that come over for the guys' night, and you have that special place you watch games, who are those people that come and hang out with you? Think about all of those different people and all those different feelings and emotions, and then open your eyes. And the thing I want to ask you guys is, through all those different experiences, through all those different situations, through all those ins and outs and those ups and downs and all those transitions and all those good times and happy times and fun times and all the tough times, sad times, how many of you pictured someone with intellectual disabilities? How many, not without raising your hand, but just think about all the imagery that you just had, and how many people in that image were people with disabilities. Disabilities of any kind. And then think about how that must feel to be that group of people who are kind of the invisibles in our society. In our schools, we stick them in the classrooms all by themselves. They don't have lunch with this. They don't have lunch with the gen ed students. They don't go to class with the gen ed students. They don't participate in sports or clubs, all those different things. So they become the invisibles. And the thing that I like about Encompass, which has synergy with Special Olympics, is that the idea that their services and education and acceptance of all students, all children, all people. And a lot of times in our society, we tend to forget about folks with disabilities because we focus on the disabilities and not on the abilities of these young people. And so the thing that was really inspiring to me about Encompass when I came and took the tour was that they had words like acceptance, belonging, all children succeeding, and then also working with early intervention to create a pathway for these young people to have success, which is no different than what we do at Special Olympics. So the synergy was truly there. Even, I mentioned the business owners. I think persons with disabilities represent about 17% of the workforce, and the general population represents about 65% of that. So the people with disabilities are grossly underrepresented in the workforce. And if you think about the diversity and inclusion plans that these groups are putting together, we had research done with Special Olympics where only 7% of the diversity and inclusion plans included people with disabilities. And so if you don't have a plan for it, then you tend to not have people in your group that have disabilities. And so I say all of that to say this: that is why Encompass is so important, because it's creating pathways for these young people to gain the skills, the life skills, the necessary skills to be successful, and it's also educating the people around them. It's making the other people around them aware of these people and of what they're trying to overcome and what they're trying to do and how they're trying to succeed, and letting them see that they have dreams and emotions and aspirations just like everyone else. The work I do with Special Olympics is called Unified Champion Schools. And Unified Champion Schools, first of all, unified means students with and without disabilities on the same teams, in the same clubs, and doing some of the same things, activities, and it's a school-based program. And so what we found is that in suburban areas where the resources are high and there's less turnover in schools, the program thrives. But it doesn't thrive as much in our urban areas and inner city schools. And so my job is to travel the country, talking to superintendents and district athletic directors and coaches and parents, anyone I can get to listen, to try to get these programs implemented into the inner city schools because of the outcomes. Our research shows that the students that are engaged in our Unified Champion School model, about 80% of them end up making friends for life. So the gen ed students and the students with intellectual disabilities end up becoming friends for life, which is an important factor because social equity is just as important as financial equity. So as you guys know in this room, a lot of times it's who you know versus what you know or what you have. And so it's important to have those types of friendships so you have other people advocating for you as they move on throughout their life. We have a reduction in bullying in the schools. The inclusive environment of the school is increased, the connectedness to the school is increased, attendance is up, disciplinary issues go down. And so there is some unbelievable impact on when you have this inclusive environment and you create this inclusive platform. A lot of people will just get caught up into the sports part of it, but Special Olympics uses sports to deliver social inclusion. That is the main goal of Special Olympics. And so it's not a sporting event. It's not an activity that you put on. It's a global movement. So Special Olympics International is a governing body of 7 different regions around the country. Special Olympics North America is one of those regions. And Special Olympics North America oversees the United States and Canada. Each state has their own state program, and then we help fund those states and the programs that they're doing when they go into the schools. And so the whole goal of it is to drive social inclusion. And so that's why this Encompass and the synergy with Special Olympics is so in tune, because they're trying to do and accomplish some of the same things and some of the same outcomes and manners in which we're doing it. The cool thing about it is that you guys are here today. So that is one step towards making this an inclusive deal and supporting an inclusive deal, because the reason I choose to include as my title is because choosing requires purpose. It requires a personal, purposeful, intentional decision. And for us to get to a place where we can begin to include other people and see other people that are not like us, we have to have a personal transformation. And that personal transformation then leads to our different thoughts, and our thoughts lead to different actions. I was just at the Rotary Club in Seattle a couple weeks ago, and there was a young dude there, who's about 97 years old. And he was talking about all the firsts in his life. And so he was around, he met the first African-American football player at the University of Washington. He met the first African-American state Supreme Court justice. He met the first black person or African-American person he ever became a friend with was when he was in the military. And then the work that he was doing, he hired that company's first African-American, who was the daughter of his friend from the military. And so in order for those firsts to happen, there has to be a personal transformation within him, right? So that then you don't do inclusion, you become inclusion. It becomes how you live, it becomes how you do, it becomes how you act, it becomes how you see. You have a new lens to look through, so then you see those folks that are sitting on the outskirts. You see a kid that's in the lunchroom sitting off by himself, or you see an employee that you may see, people may see disability, but you see the ability. Coming here on July 1st at the University of Washington, we're having the Special Olympics USA Games, which is our every 4-year Olympics that are going to be held here in Washington. And the culminating event of that is that they focus on the ability of the athletes, not the disabilities. I do circuits like this a lot with Special Olympics, and I have a team member that I travel with. Her name is Devin Edelman, and she is a Special Olympic athlete. She has done softball, baseball, soccer, stand-up paddleboarding, downhill skiing. She's spoken at the UN. She's spoken in front of the governing body for Special Olympics. She does interviews and talks. She has 2 jobs. And I thought Deion Sanders was awesome. He doesn't even come close to the amount of things that this young lady has accomplished. And I was talking to her one day, and I had to go talk to this whole room of athletic directors, probably like 1,100 athletic directors from all over the country. And I said, Devin, if there was one thing I could tell this group about Special Olympics, what would it be? And she said, Ray, Special Olympics gives me the chance to try, possibly fail, but then get to try again. And I was like, Devin, you have no idea how powerful that is. Because everyone in here wants the opportunity to work hard, to put in your time and effort and sacrifice, to take a shot at it. And if you fail, you want to learn from your failure, get up and try again. So what's built into that one sentence is hard work, the ability to overcome, learn, and then the resilience to get up and go at it again. And if you can create a platform and an environment for that type of mentality to thrive, then you are creating an inclusive environment for everybody. Because that's what everyone wants. If you take Special Olympics off the front of it, everyone wants the ability to try, possibly fail, and then get up and try again. And that's the other key. The possibly fail part is huge. It's so important. Because a lot of times when you see folks with disabilities of any kind, you try to put the pillow out so they don't land hard. You want everything to be soft and cuddly, and pick them up and give them a hug and smile and pat on the back and good try. But she is willing to embrace the failure, which is powerful, because we all learn from that, right? And so it's almost like that, like you are aware that there's a chance that you may fail. And she said, well, Ray, like everyone else gets to fail and gets to try again. So if I want to have the same opportunities if I want to achieve the same things, if I want to get better at what I do, I have to be willing to embrace that as well. And so when I shared this with these athletic directors, it was amazing because you go to these, I was the last speaker, and it's a four-day long conference, and it had to figure out a way to get this group engaged, right? And so when I made that statement, that was the statement that got the room. Because then they understood that it wasn't just about sports. That it wasn't just about winning a state championship. It's not just about putting the ball through a hoop or crossing the goal line or hitting the ball out of the park or whatever, throwing the ball into the net. It wasn't about any of that. Like that is just a vehicle to deliver this inclusive mindset so that everyone gets a piece of the pie. A lot of times we think inclusion means that if we include one person, we have to exclude another. But inclusion means there's room for everybody, with and without intellectual disabilities, or with or without any disabilities of any kind, whether it's social economics, or whether it's physical, mental, what have you. There is room for everyone at the table. And so I would first like to thank you guys for coming to the tables to have breakfast this morning, because that shows that this is important to you. The other thing I'd like for you to do today is that you've demonstrated that you can share your time and give your time to this cause. But the other part of it, and you saw the data about the return on the investment piece, the other part is the financial piece. And it takes money to put these programs on. And so we're asking you today, as a part of your transformation, first you showed up, and then secondly, we want you to donate. We want you to give to the cause, to help support these programs. Because if you're a spiritual person, the Bible says that God gives life and He gives it abundantly. By you supporting Encompass and programs like Special Olympics with your time and your resources, you are setting a platform that also utilizes the power of the Spirit, and you give these people life and life abundantly. So as you reach into your pocket today, keep that in mind. And also keep in mind those images that you had at the beginning when you're walking through your journey through life, and think about the people you saw and the people you didn't see. This is allowing for these people to be seen. And that's a big part of it. So thank you for having me, and enjoy your breakfast.